Hey guys, Idle with Fresh Mark Sense, another fresh review. Today I'll be reviewing cold summer fragrances. Now in Britain we have lots of cold summers where it takes a long time for it to heat up, and we need transitional fragrances to bring us from the colder months to the summer months where it's hot and we can wear more bright aqua fragrances. But until then you need a little bit of warmth and a taste of the summer with some fruitiness and maybe some citrus burst to remind you of good things to come. So that's what's next. Stay fresh. The first fragrance I'll be reviewing is right here, Lacoste Homme Intense. Now this has a great summer polo vibe, which means it's fresh, clean, little bit fruity, so it gets you active and sporty out there. It definitely has a nice sport vibe about it without being too outdoorsy, and it does have a quality of warmth with the cashmere wood. The top notes of this are rhubarb, quince, orange and mandarin orange. It has a bit of grapefruit in there too, so it's a very fruity opening. You get a lot of the rhubarb predominantly. The quince gives it a little bit of a fizzy characteristic. The grapefruit is there to just complement the fruity characteristics and bring it into the fresh category and give you that awakening zing. I feel that grapefruit works very well with quince to give a brightness to the fragrance. Sorry. And rhubarb definitely gives it a rounded fruity note that is carried on into the middle notes with ginger, black pepper, jasmine, pineapple, almond and hedione, which is hedione is like a white floral. So what's very interesting about this is that it goes from a top notes of rhubarb to a middle note of ginger. Now the ginger is not very noticeable, and I feel that if anything the pineapple is actually more noticeable, but it doesn't shine out as a fruity note, and it doesn't shine out as a overly fruity perfume because of it. The almond actually tones down the whole perfume and brings about the woody characteristics of the base, which have nagamotha, amberwood. You got a bit of vetiver, amber, vanilla, and akigala wood. Now akigala wood, I kept on mispronouncing the word argo wood for oud wood as akigala wood. I done this because akigala wood is not something I made up, but a synthetic note that somebody else made up, which I thought was it meant that I was right either way, which I thought was quite amusing, even though I was saying the wrong word. So akigala wood has a mix of patchouli, pepper, and argo wood. So it's like it is like argo wood, but it has a hint of patchouli and pepper to it to give that almost oud facet, but much lighter, and bring out the sweetness of the patchouli. So it's a little bit of a it's an oriental wood, like a spiced, a little bit musky wood with the sweetness of patchouli. So it's a synthetic note, but akigala wood is really a thing in the base notes. So nagamotha, akigala wood, amberwood, that vetiver has a freshness. It's not very grassy. I'm getting mainly the fruity notes and the fruity notes of the rhubarb and a little bit of pineapple, but it's contrasted by a creamy almond note. That creamy almond note is very dominant, and you just get a bit of that sweetness from the patchouli. Actually it's akigala wood, which is synthetic patchouli and argo wood. So I find this a very smooth, uplifting, refreshing perfume. That summer polo vibe is there because if you spray it on your clothes, it would be very refreshing and zingy. Yet it would still have that warmth of the cashmere wood. So a fantastic reach for summer, and I'll say that is my first perfume that I definitely check out for summer or the colder summer months. Lacoste Le Homme Intense. Now, I took a long time for this one, but I like to go into my fragrances. The next fragrance I'm going to talk about is a fragrance you all know and love, the Eau de Parfum version of Sauvage. Now, this is the most, it actually differs from the rest of the DNA of the Sauvage flankers the most in that it has a frankincense and Sichuan pepper note, which actually gives a spiciness but a resinous sweetness to it as well, which carries on into the base notes of vanilla, and I'm not sure if it has tonka bean, but there's definitely vanilla in the base. Now, the reason why I chose this as a cold summer scent is because usually you'd wear more resinous or spice perfumes maybe, or in the winter to give some warmth, but this has cooling characteristics of the bergamot and it has warming characteristics of the frankincense and Sichuan pepper. I'm wearing it right now and I'm getting almost a warmth like I'm next to the fire, because the Sichuan pepper is punchy and pungent and it cuts through, yet the frankincense gives a resinous warmth, almost like a glowing warmth. So it has got that imagery of a fire almost. So great work with the advertisement of giving an imagery of a cold night with a hot fire, being beside a hot fire. Sometimes you could get burned, but you definitely get the warmth from it. So it's that sharpness of the Sichuan pepper and the warm glow of the fire from the frankincense. I would also like to say that it was a cold night, but what reminds me of that cold night is the enigmatic bergamot note. I'd say enigmatic because it's very well blended and it feels like a mist of many different facets of bergamot. It has the bitterness of almost like the skin of bergamot, the juiciness of the bergamot, the lime characteristics, the more well, it's got the whole bergamot there. It's got many different characteristics, and that's why I call it a enigmatic bergamot, because it leaves you a little bit confused as to what it is with the clash of bergamot and these resinous warm notes. So I find this very interesting yet fresh. It has a warmth to it, but it's very fresh. So I choose that in another Decant worthy cold summer fragrance. So the next one will be another resinous fragrance with some freshness, but this takes another twist. This has sage as its main note, so it brings about the freshness that is suitable for fall, summer, and even spring. Many great fragrances have Clary sage to give a breath of fresh air. The freshness of the Clary sage is also clashed with frankincense in this perfume, but because it starts off with Clary sage and a very fruity note of was it pear, which actually smells a little bit like apple. It has a resinous sweetness. The apple is juicy and fresh, so it's a more juicy fresh, and then it has a resinous vibe. This also has the Sauvage Eau de Parfum, also has a juicy bergamot note, and that's why they are very similar in their general scent profile. But if you compare them side by side, you would notice that the Sauvage Eau de Parfum is a little bit more resinous and spicy, and this has a more fruity and fresh vibe, whilst also having those slight characteristics. So this is suitable for warmer weather because it doesn't come off as too spicy, maybe making it suited to colder weather, you'd think. But this is still got that fresh vibe. But it would leave you, rather than smelling resinously spicy and a little bit fresh, it would leave you smelling more fruity and sweet and clean than the aforementioned Sauvage eau de parfum. So this is when it gets a little bit warmer, but you still have a windy day or something like that. This will still keep you fresh, warm, cozy, and fruity to be, ready for more outgoing situations if you're going out. So it keeps you on your toes, just like the Lacoste L'Homme Intense, in that fruity vibe that is quite youthful and uplifting. That's what I meant. The next one that I will mention is Stronger With You Eau de Toilette. I always choose Eau de Toilette over the Eau de Parfum. I mentioned it before because I like the mix of the notes. I feel that it's very true to the DNA and just a great warming scent. This is another scent which has pineapple in the mid note with melon. It has a top note of, they have some pink pepper. A lot of things going on here. You got some sage in here as well. Oh wow, if I was to go for the top notes as well, yeah, there was cardamom in here as well. Cardamom, pineapple, walnuts, like nutty notes, amberwood, like the aforementioned fragrance, white eau de parfum, and like Lacoste L'Homme Intense. Amberwood is a great resinous sweet wood. I prefer it over patchouli a lot of the time to give a sweet wood effect, simply because it has that ambery resinous touch that patchouli doesn't have. But patchouli also has this place in its sweet woods, and when it's mixed very nicely, it can be the heart of great perfumes. But I personally prefer amberwood perfumes because it has that resinous sweet touch. And I'm more of a gourmand lover, and that's probably why. So this is amberwood, pineapple, clary sage, lavender. Generally a great classic warming scent. Decant worthy as well. I'm going to put this in the decant as well. All of these perfumes I'm going to put in separate decants because I want to use them more, and I think individually they would have great characteristics when worn outdoors and have some, generally just bring some great warmth whilst bringing positive vibes, because they are seasonally matched and so mass appealing and underrated in my fragrance selection because, well, I've been dealing with Manceras, but these are great too, and that is why it's next to my summer collection. Now, the next in my selection is Jean Vavartos Nick Jonas Crimson. Now this is a coffee, it's got some CO2 vibe as well. It's a coffee, gourmand, vanilla. It's got that, oh, I'm gonna spray this. I'm gonna not lose my little medallion on here. Now, coffee, gourmand, warming. It's got bergamot too. It's just it's got that great city vibe about it, sort of coming in and out. It's got a playfulness to it. It's very energetic yet relaxing with that gourmand coffee note. It's very fresh yet warming. It has I just fall in love with that coffee note mixed with the CO2 and bergamot. It used to really turn me off, and I was thinking, what is this synthetic note? But the CO2 note, which is almost like a smoky coffee note, mixes with the ground coffee and vanilla and bergamot to produce something very sweet, very pleasing, very sensual. sensual, dark, smoky, rich, but it doesn't last that long. So that is why it's a decant worthy fragrance, and that's why I'm going to be holding it with me. It lasts about 5 hours in terms of longevity. It will project for the first 2 hours, project for about 2 hours and last for 5 hours on the skin. It's for people who have many fragrances. John Vavartos fragrances, I believe, are for collectors, people who know what they want, and they're not shy about reapplying. I mean, it's an okay sized bottle. I can't imagine keeping it on me because it seems kind of delicate with this glass. This is actually glass, not plastic. It's a very nice bottle, but I definitely keep a decant of this because I don't want to risk the glass bottle. I'll go for a little plastic kind of tube. I'll be very happy with this because it has resinous, smoky, alluring. I don't want to say resinous, but I'm picking a lot of resinous fragrances. It has a balsamic, which is almost balsamic, which is almost like vinegar, but it's actually the more dark and sweet notes of it, the treacle-like notes of it. So it has a great dark, smoky, rich, ambery, and resinous, alluring, smoky characteristic going on over here, mixed with the coffee notes. So I think it's great for when it's a little bit cold outside, but you want to invite someone into your scent bubble and that warmth that you would be projecting. It's a great scent, and it has a bit of a bad boy vibe about it because it's a little bit smoky and dirty, yet it's fresh. So a great summer fragrance in the colder months. I would have picked John Vavartos, original John Vavartos, but I feel this has a little bit more of a, I was going to say more of a serious vibe, but the mandarin, no, the, sorry, it has a tamarind note. Tamarind gives it a little bit of a sour, sweet vibe with the leather. This is a leather perfume. Yeah, it has a sour, sweet vibe because it has very unusual notes like, I think, banana leaf and sour tamarind note mixed with the leather and plum. It's a pleasure to wear. I'd say this is for a little bit colder months though. But definitely if the summer was like freezing, you would wear this, but I'd say this is for colder months. And this has the more ambery, resinous, smoky, sweet characteristics. And because it's got a coffee note in it, I think it's great as a date scent because it reminds you of more comforting memories of being at home and sipping a coffee. So it's great to bring that sort of warmth outside and into the summer. So John Vavartos Crimson. The last one is a woody fragrance for people who want to have that I was going to say sour yet fresh vibe. All of these perfumes have a sort of clash about them because they mix the summer with the winter, and this is no different. This has a woody vibe of the deep fall or deep autumn, where it's cold and the actual leaves are falling off. But I find this very refreshing. The sour bergamot. They have bergamot, grapefruit, spices, bergamot, grapefruit, spices, and a little bit of pepper. Now, I really like the contrast of the sourness of the fragrance, the sour freshness of the fragrance. I'm gonna put this. It's the only place I'm got fragrance. The sour freshness of the fragrance is great. It's got a woody characteristic and it's sour fresh. The freshness suits it to summer. The woody characteristic is supportive, but it's not so heavy like ebony wood. It's more of light woods done with a sweet touch of patchouli. Here comes in the sweetness of the patchouli in this fragrance, and it contrasts very well with the grapefruit, spices, and bergamot on top with a little bit of pepper. Fantastic fragrance for colder summer because it has that freshness, that sweetness that you'd associate with new beginnings and summer, and it has a hopeful optimism about it because it's very herbal fresh too, like new branches and new growth. Yet it has that mature edge of the wood, and I feel that this is very wearable for summer. Very refreshing in the cold wind, because if somebody walks by you, they get almost like a blast of woody freshness. So it's very invigorating, and that tiny sour kick from the top of the spices and grapefruit, that would create the interest and intrigue to move in. So it's a very herbal, refreshing, sour, fresh, relaxing perfume. Fantastic. Kumquat wood. It's not kumquat, and it's kumquat, really, if you wanted to say it in a Pakistani way. Kumquat, which is a fruit grown in Pakistan and India. So people stop saying kumquat. I just want to get that out there. And but it's a great fragrance. So kumquat wood is a great sour fresh perfume that I'd recommend for the cold summer months, and that is the last one that I'd recommend. Tell me if I have missed anything. I really love these fragrances. I think that they are the best in summer because they bring about good vibes, and they really make you think of the best times in summer and make you share the best memories. After that last recommendation, I'd sign out by saying get decanting on your fragrances and bring your perfume with you to project a better you outside. Now, I'd like to know what perfumes you choose for decanting, what perfumes you like, and any suggestions on what videos to do in the future, because I'm doing this for you, and to be honest, I've pretty much I bought all the fragrances that I like, and after this I would go for a few more in terms of buying the extra perfume version. A few perfumes have come out, and I do recommendations on whether it's good to get the perfume version or maybe just stick with the eau de toilette, because some of them have just better flavor scent profiles that are more mass appealing and they last just as long. So let me know, guys, and stay fresh. Take care, people.